I'm going to bring up our next speaker, and our next speaker is it's David Gould. Is that correct? Did I get that right? And he's got, I think, the coolest job on the planet. He is the director of innovation at AstraZeneca. I think that would be, innovation, creativity. Oh my God. And my parrot is yelling in the background. He's so excited. So welcome, David.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the warm welcome introduction. And I suppose the first thing I should say is a huge thank you to the organizers and everyone here at Hope Week for having me and inviting me to come and talk. It truly is a privilege to be here and hear and understand all the issues going on with people suffering from chronic kidney disease. So thank you. So as Laurie says, my name's David Gould. I head up the innovation team for AstraZeneca. As you can probably tell by the accent, I am a Brit, but I have lived out here for a number of years in the US. And as Laurie rightly says, I have probably the coolest job on the planet and it's slightly unique within big pharmaceutical companies because I get to spend all day, every day, really focused on those suffering from chronic kidney disease and really trying to think through and problem solve and come up with really innovative ways and solutions we can bring to the market to really help alleviate a lot of those pain points. So I've been in this renal space for about, I'd say 4 years now, but I've worked for AstraZeneca for 16 years. So let me share my slides, which I should have brought up a second ago. There you go. You didn't miss it, just the title. So here at AstraZeneca, it's fair to say we're relatively new to renal and chronic kidney disease. We entered this space a little over 2 years ago with the introduction of a product to treat hyperkalemia, hypotassiums. And in doing so, we're really trying to focus on giving patients alleviation of the burdensome challenge of dealing with hypotassiums, and alleviate that problem when there's a million and one things going on with chronic kidney disease patients. So that was a product we brought to the market a couple of years ago, and very proud to say that's been making an impact and helping support patients over the past 2 years. But earlier on this year, in the middle of in 2001, we also were able to get approval from the FDA for a new indication for one of our diabetes drugs, Farxiga, which some of you may be familiar with. So that was originally developed in order to treat high glucose and to support patients with their diabetic conditions. But through clinical trial work, we were able to demonstrate that actually initiation of Farxiga early on in those patients' journey and their diagnosis, we were able to show we were able to slow the progression of chronic kidney disease within those patients. So tied to that and the need to obviously ensure patients get access to these medications, we've got a bold ambition here in AstraZeneca in order to increase and support clinicians and patients get access to earlier diagnosis. And we've got a bold ambition of increasing diagnosis within chronic kidney disease in the US by 50% by the year 2025. But on the right-hand side of the slide is where I suppose me and my team come in. So we're really focused on forward-thinking collaborations and really, as I say, trying to think through truly innovative solutions that can make a difference to patients. So the vision for our team within AstraZeneca, the innovation team, is really starting to develop partnerships that are driven by science, they're driven by innovation and data, which deliver individualized solutions that leverage technology to revolutionize kidney care. So one of the first things we did as a team when we first came together is we spent quite a long time really trying to understand the chronic kidney disease journey and all the challenges that those patients go through as they progress through their chronic kidney disease. So we literally spent hours, we spent days interrogating that CKD journey to truly try and understand where some of the major pain points were and some of the challenges were for both providers, healthcare professionals, as well as patients in this space. And we landed on 3 core areas. The first of which being, as I kind of alluded to earlier, helping support the increased awareness of diagnosis and also the value that that diagnosis can bring to patients' lives, as well as providers, as well as healthcare systems. The second area was all about, once you've diagnosed that patient, how can we really help support improvement in the accuracy of that diagnosis, as well as really trying to think through how can we help providers and patients really understand the risks associated with their chronic kidney disease and the progression of that risk within their chronic kidney disease. And then lastly, I think probably more importantly, once you've achieved all of that and you've ensured that patients understand their condition, understand the pathway their condition is going on, how can we help really transform how these people suffering from chronic kidney disease are managed moving forward? So that's where we focused our time. And if that's where we focused our time, what I want to do is pause and talk a little bit about a couple of the bigger initiatives that AstraZeneca is really invested in this space to help support patients. So on the left-hand side of the slide is the first one, and it's a partnership we're developing with an organization called Renalytics. So Renalytics is an organization that is truly focused on helping HCPs, healthcare professionals, as well as patients, really understand their risk level around their chronic kidney disease. So we know that when we look at people suffering from chronic kidney disease, some are more likely to go on and rapidly progress than others. There are a higher risk of rapid progression. So one thing we wanted to interrogate is whether Renalytics as an organization could help us more accurately predict and find those patients that are real high risk of going on to rapidly progress within their chronic kidney disease. The proposition that Renalytics have is they have a technology that actually looks at blood biomarkers. It looks and pulls all your electronic health records. It combines all of those and it puts it into an artificial intelligence algorithm. And that artificial intelligence algorithm continues to learn and continues to develop and get better and better and better as more and more people suffering with chronic kidney disease and their data is put into the algorithm. So the premise is, if we can demonstrate that we can better accurately predict those people suffering from chronic kidney disease, they're going to go on to have a rapid progression of their chronic kidney disease, that we can help ensure that those patients get into the system and get the care that they need and get the interventions they need to ensure that they are adequately treated, and we can do everything we can to try and do everything possible to slow the progression of their chronic kidney disease. That's a pilot we've currently got running in collaboration with Renalytics, but with collaboration with the hospital system, Mount Sinai, based out of New York. And we're hopeful that we'll see some really great results at the end of this year. And those results ultimately will show that more accurate diagnosis leads to better patient management, a reduction in hospitalizations, and better improvement in their management. So we're excited to see the premise and the promise that can deliver to patients. Then the other half of the slide is related to an organization called Sanguina. So Sanguina, I think, is an incredibly cool technology. So we all know that, and you will know better than I, that chronic kidney disease leads to patients feeling fatigued on a very regular basis and suffering with real chronic fatigue. Sanguina have developed an application that sits on your phone and it takes a picture of your finger bed nails. Based on the picture of your finger bed nails, it can quite accurately predict what your hemoglobin level is. Your intravenous, your blood hemoglobin level is based on your finger bed nails. So what we're trying to show in a small pilot with chronic kidney disease patients is that utilization of this application, the ability to take a picture of your finger bed nails and predict your hemoglobin score, is just as accurate as going into a lab and doing a blood draw. And if we can demonstrate that it's as accurate as going into a lab to get a blood draw, the hope is we can really help support chronic kidney disease sufferers to really understand their hemoglobin levels at the touch of a button. And if we can do that and eliminate the burden of having to go in and do blood draws on a consistent basis, that really has the opportunity to empower patients to understand that element of their condition a little bit better. So all of these things, I hope I've demonstrated a real effort by AstraZeneca to ensure we're doing everything we can to innovate, and ultimately empower patients to better understand what's going on with their chronic kidney disease so they can make more informed choices with their provider to ensure that they're doing everything they can around their condition. So I wanted to finish with a quote. And funnily enough, it wasn't just because, Laurie, you had Amazon just knock on your door. This was actually already a slide I prepared. Jeff Bezos says that we innovate by starting with a customer and working backwards. And that's the touchstone for how we invent. Well, I like to think in AstraZeneca and our innovation team, we innovate by we truly start with the patient in mind and working backwards so that we can really do something different and help support patients with their chronic kidney disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Sorry, I was on mute. And actually, it was the USPS, not Amazon. But my dog let me know when anybody's at the door. It's the best. It's the best system. But you know, I've been going to Toastmasters. Have you heard of Toastmasters? Since 1993, and anybody can go look up Toastmasters.org. You didn't have one or I am so impressed. I listen for them. I'm a trained and listener, and I have to say that is a hard thing to do.
Well, thank you very much.
What it really tells me is you really know your stuff.
Thank you.
And I think the whole thing about you know, taking a picture of the fingernails. In the mid 90s, I worked for a company who was working on non-invasive hematocrit. And I was in the office and they're like, I need somebody with low perfusion that I can try to test their hematocrit through my skin, like a pulse oximeter. And it was so fun because I could see the technology, and now to go to a camera, because anemia is not a fun thing to endure. I used to get 2 units of blood every 6 weeks for 12 years. And that's why it was so hard for me to get a transplant, because you get antibodies when you're anemic and you need blood transfusions. And so if you can predict anemia at an earlier date, it could potentially prevent people from needing blood transfusions when you're passed out in the ER because you can't, you know, lift your head because you're so tired. So very, very exciting. And if you're ever looking for an assistant director, I might be available in innovation. I think that's a cool job you have. And we really appreciate your time and your dedication to improving therapies for people who have chronic kidney disease.
Thank you so much for the invite. Have a great day.
Have a great day.